But my observation is that, even interacting with people, is that the Joburg Indaba this year is proving to be very productive in the way delegates contributed to the discussion, and actually beginning to look into the role of South Africa's mining industry in building inclusive economic growth. Now, this theme, inclusive economic growth and employment creation, has been adopted by the GNU with no party objecting. They all agreed. Now, people, before I get into the details, people always say many things about the GNU. Others are excited, others say this, and I always tell them that it's a coalition of contending forces. It's not a coalition of people who agree on anything. Contending forces pulled together and forced to agree on one thing: let's make the country work. So everybody who is in the GNU is committed to make the country work. That's why we adopted the building an inclusive economic growth and employment creation. All of us, no dissenting voice. More encouraging to us was that not only the discussions and the theme of this Indaba aligned to the government's strategic priority of driving for inclusive economic growth and job creation and reducing poverty, but also signify South Africa's mining industry appreciation of the critical role in the realization of these priorities. Now, I'm making this point because I was given a topic that I must talk about reviving the mining industry. I say, as a miner, Bernard, reviving is a first aid concept where you do mouth-to-mouth respiration. That is what reviving is all about. So I'm not giving the mining industry any mouth-to-mouth respiration. It is alive, it is kicking, it is good. Now, but more important is that the mining industry, people who do not know it, they always throw hands in the air whenever it shows its signs of cyclical behavior, both of production and cyclical behavior of prices of commodities. People who are not in mining don't appreciate that. They think that when there is a downward trend in the cycle, there is death and there is something terrible coming. And it is important for us to appreciate that it is the nature of the industry. Cyclical behavior of prices, cyclical behavior of production. Whereas South African economy strengthened by 0.4% in the second quarter of 2024, the mining industry recorded 2 months of decline in production. And when that happens, many of the authors and writers will say, Minister X, Minister Y, Minister Z. The reality of the matter is that a minister in the industry doesn't produce even a ton of coal. I may be called a coal fundamentalist, but I produce no coal. Okay. The reality is that mining companies produce. It is the mining companies that make the industry what it is and what it should be and what it will be. I can shout until I'm blue in my face. If the mining companies don't respond, I'm not going to change the reality. That's why, in my own view, is that when you decrease production 2 months running, I know that there is a problem. But I look at it and say, where did this decline come from? I say, there's decline in gold, there's decline in coal, there's decline in diamonds, there's decline in iron ore. Now, when I do that, I look at people I must be talking to, because it is not general mining that declines, it is particular commodities. And the employment in terms of Stats SA dropped by 7,000 jobs. And I looked at this and said, there's a decline in production, there's a decline in employment, And then this theme, inclusive economic growth and employment creation, is contradicted there. Jobs are reduced, production is reduced, so this theme is a distant theme for us in the industry, and we must reconnect with that theme. Now, in cognizance of the fact that sustaining mining industry positive contribution to the country's economy is an efficient transport and port system and infrastructure, as well as reliable electricity supply, the government continues to invest resources to eliminate the deficiencies in these two sectors. We are showing some progress in the electricity side. We've not seen load shedding for more than 100 days, for 6 months actually, no load shedding. And people said when we started, they said it's a campaign, a tactic. After election, you will see it's coming back. It is not coming back. We work very hard not so that it doesn't come back. Now, but if we don't sort out the logistics, bulk commodities are going to pay the price. If you can take iron ore to Saldanha and take coal to Richards Bay and take manganese to Port Elizabeth, then we are in trouble as a sector. Now, that is one thing that we must pay attention to. Although the rail and port infrastructure challenges remain, the speech by Advocate Michelle Phillips affirmed the government commitment to work with the industry. The industry, when it works with a particular state-owned entity to improve the situation, is not doing a favor. It is putting the food where the mouth is. It is in the interest of the industry for rail to work. It is in the interest of the industry for electricity to work. So when you come in, and I always tell them, we always fight with Mzila here, who is the CEO of Mineral Council. When he talks about not having load shedding, he will tell me a long story of how the private sector contributed to change this reality. And I say to him, Mzila, one thing that was done correctly since the Rater left is that there was a focus on the electricity availability factor, power station by power station. You denied that, and I said, pay attention to the electricity availability factor, power station by power station. Many of our power stations today register more than 70% energy availability factor. And that we must note, and that is where it is sustainable. Then the renewables add to that to sustain the industry. Now, there is a strong case emerging out of the study of state of mining, that South African mining industry not only remains a bedrock of our economy, but an attractive investment destination for mining. This study, which was done by MINDEC, Mineral Council participated, many other interested people did this study. And I said to MINDEC, this study must be released for public discussion. It will tell you in no uncertain terms that your gold is in decline. We can't deny that. It has been mined for more than 140 years. It is deep, it is dangerous, it is hot. The majority of companies that are still in mining are medium-sized companies. Big companies, there are two major companies that remain, three. One has one shaft, by the way. Is Sibanye Stillwater, it is Harmony, and it is Goldfields. The rest are medium-sized. You can go to TRD, Westwoods, and you can list all of them. And that's where we are in gold. We're in the top of gold production. We're today number 13 in the world and number 4 in the continent. And you must just appreciate that and understand it and not try to be in denial about that. But we are leading in PGMs by far. Craig is from Anglo-American Platinum. So we're leading in platinum. We're leading in manganese. We're in the top 5 in coal. Many say coal will disappear, and I always tell them that King Coal is around. And today in Sasol, we showed Cyril that, President, here is Sasol plant, it's huge, and it beneficiates coal. How can you wish coal away that it will disappear? It can't. King Coal is around, is here. And we must just respect that and use it to research, improve technology for using. A few weeks ago, we launched a project on carbon capture, use and storage. People dismissed it, and we said, let's put money into this thing. It will extend the life of coal. And the mining companies must put money in it because it's about them. It's not about government, it's about mining companies. We're discussing critical minerals. Critical minerals, they are listed, many of them. Actually, I've seen 7 lists of critical minerals. All of them, without exception, despite the talk, list among the critical minerals something called coal. And that surprised me. I look at all of them, coal, and they looked in various factors, employment creation, export capacity, this and that, and this and that, and they list all of them. And we have agreed that we are not going to take an American definition, we're not going to take an Australian definition, we're not going to take a UK definition. We are going to give critical mineral our own definition here as South Africans and try to persuade the continent to give that definition. So critical minerals are there, we have plenty of them, and all of them are found in the African continent. It's a good continent. So investors must come, investors must appreciate that actually we provide more than 70% of PGMs in the world. We provide 38% of the associated commodities and 81 on another. And I think if palladium is 38%, rhodium is 81%. That means we're a destination where any investor in mining wants to be. The PGM sector, therefore, is poised to play a critical role in sustaining South African mining industry and in the growth of our economy. So the question that was posed to you, Craig, of whether we are a sunset sector of the future, obviously, when you give 73% of wealth platinum, 38% of gold palladium, and 80% of wealth rhodium, you are not a sunset sector. You are a sunrise sector. Investors must come and invest because there's potential. You can talk to many people here who are opening new mines. 2 companies, big companies, are opening shafts in platinum, okay? And as old-fashioned as I am, I know that I'm not expecting to see a shaft pillar. They do something called, but it's a decline shaft. I call them incline shafts. You see, I call them incline shaft. They call them decline shaft. I call them incline shaft. And they are building those companies, and I'm happy about that. Now, let me talk about something that we are discussing with the industry. We say, well, let's beneficiate. If we don't add value to our minerals, we're exporting jobs, we're exporting profits. Let's come together and begin to add value. We've had in the first discussion, few chrome and manganese companies are keen to work with us on that. Because we said to them, tell us what you want. One, I said, we said to them, insist on the state to give you reliable energy. You can't add value to minerals if you don't have reliable energy. And that is the responsibility of the state. We can say anything we like. The state must provide reliable energy. And we said to them, call a company like Samango, which has benefited, to another formula called Commodity Price Linked Electricity Tariff. Let's look into that as a possibility. Where when the price is high, you pay high electricity. When the price is low, you pay low tariff. It sustains the industry and it sustains the... And actually those low and high prices cancel each other over a long period of time. And we said, let's talk about that. Let's even talk. There's nothing that is a no-go area. Talk to us about a tax holiday for beneficiation. But think it through, bring a proposal. That proposal must be sustainable. We'll listen to you. If you export anyway, you must also expect that we will tax you. It will give you something called export tax, something. And I always tell people that export tax is a blunt tool, but sometimes when people just want to kill the economy, you use the blunt tool. It's the last option we'll be looking at. Now, so manganese and chrome are important because all we need to do is to look into reviving all the furnaces that has been closed, and also ensure that those furnaces, for example, your smelters, there are quite a number of them. Half of them are mothballed. And let's open those smelters to create the capacity to process and add value. And we can work together on those. I've already started lobbying the Minister of Electricity, Dr. Ramakhupa. He is favorable to that. So let's look into those. And therefore, all these are issues that were thrown to the industry. It is up to the industry to take them. The state will not do anything on its own. Now, it is therefore essential that the industry meaningfully participate in this discussion that seeks to enhance the quantity and quality of exports, promote the creation of decent employment, and diversify the economy. That's all we're looking at. And we are convinced, like the sun comes from the east to the west, that there can be no industry that works without partnering the government and the private sector. And it's not about demands on one another. It's about partnering, work together, get the best results. During the previous Joburg Indaba sessions, the sector raised with us a number of issues that need to be resolved. One of them was that we need a policy and regulatory certainty for investment. Then we move on and we go and say, okay, let's get a cadastral system. To introduce that cadastral system, we do many things that are not normal. We went to Namibia, went to Botswana, we looked at how that system works, and we were convinced that we want to get the best out of that. And here we are. We're having the cadastral systems underway. First phase 1 is completed, we're in phase 2 of it, but we gave ourselves 12 months to implement it. And you must remember that when we do that, we don't do it because it is a nice to have. We do it because we agree with the industry that a transparent and efficient licensing system is essential for the industry to grow. So that's what we're in. And of course, we did look into we monitor when people write. Some person, I won't tell the name, who is in PwC, who's in PwC, wrote yesterday and said, yeah, the DMR now is talking about cadastral system. They ignored us last year. It is underway because we heard you last year. You see, we're not doing it in retrospect. We're doing it because we heard you last year. Yeah? Now, and when the person said, but this is PwC, I asked a simple question. I asked some question. I said, which mine is run by PwC? Now, nobody could give me an example of one shaft or a mine run by PwC. I said, I know that they are sponsoring the event, but they're not mining. Now, we listened to miners, and we brought in a cadastral system we're working on, want it to work efficiently. Miners must criticize it. That's what I'm asking for. For example, another very important writer in Daily Maverick, he writes that, you see, in Home Affairs, backlog was done away within 3 weeks. He writes this. Say, why does the DMR not take the formula of Home Affairs to deal with that backlog? And I said, I refer then to Mkwanas, who is a commissioner of police in KZN. He was interviewed by one journalist, and this guy was giving him all the bright ideas. And he said to him, Mr. Journalist, let's do this. We are going to have an operation next week. We want to go with you. You will be commanding, and you will tell us when to shoot and when to lie down. Now, so when you're a journalist and you say, we must take a system in Home Affairs and use it in mining, I know that you are a journalist. We must take you to a mining situation and you command the forces. So we'll see the results. And then they say we're allergic to transparency. I can tell you that April 2023 to March this year, we processed and finalized 123 mining rights. We processed and finalized 1,527 prospecting rights. We processed and finalized 2,313 mining permits and related activities. So there is work being done. But if you are not in that space and you write an article, I take it sometimes, you are looking for something and so forth. You know, when the cabinet was put together, I read 20 articles about me. They were really working hard. Well, I must not be appointed. And I called 2 of them and said, listen, man, I'm the chairperson of the ANC. What are you thinking about? I'm critical to the formation of the GNU. If I put a foot into it, it's going to be spoiled. What are you up to? And they disappeared. So we set up an exploration fund with ITC. Simple. 400 million rand. And it is working. We've screened the application, and we received 115. We're left with 45 who go to the final stages of assessment, and they will be given the money and do, because we have said one thing, that money can't be used as flowers. We can only see if it is working as a result of beneficiaries from it. So watch the space. And that 45 will get people who will do exploration. Major companies are not doing much exploration. I know that TPS is doing some in Venetia, a lot of it. Yeah, but now it is an auction, I can't help that. It's not my business. It is auctioned, but it's doing a lot of exploration. But it's not my business. And we've also started a fund to fund artisanal miners. Initial amount, 72 million rand, is not much, but we said, let's start with it, and we will see if it will work. And our view is that artisanal mining is essential in South Africa because major companies sterilize marginal deposits. And artisanal miners can come after them and mine those sterilized marginal deposits. And that will add value to the industry. That's our view. And that's why, for example, we are very much concerned about many mines, I won't mention names, which put shafts under care and maintenance when we need jobs. It's not the correct idea, it's not the correct business path. It doesn't suit a financial setup of a company, and they put shafts under care and maintenance, and we need employment. Our view is that, and our team was saying, but why don't you use it or lose it, a principle? In those cases, I say, no, you don't write roughshod on the industry. You talk to the industry. And we agree. When there is resistance, then you can use, there's a few sections in the law. One is section 54. When you are a spoiler, we just suspend your operation. But there's one serious one, section 47. We take the license. But you don't use those sections willy-nilly. You try to persuade the industry to do the right thing, and those are last resort interventions. Bernard, you gave me time, and I know that you can easily switch off the mic. But
I don't have to do that. The people will just go out and drink wine.
As we come to the end of this year's Joburg Indaba, we wish to encourage South African mining industry to continue sharing insights about realities of this industry, advance beneficiation at source, and support our exploration initiative. And it's an appeal to the industry, because if the industry doesn't work with us, it's not going to happen. Lastly, we're encouraging junior miners to take up the opportunities presented to them in order to transform the industry and ensure that the people of South Africa derive value from the country's mineral endowment. You know, yesterday, I talked to my cabinet colleagues, and I said to them, I can say things that no other person says easily. I said to them, they were full in the room, and I said to them, you know, President, one thing I'm grateful to you is that you have given me the most transforming sector of the economy. And I said, and that transforming sector is mining. All my colleagues were shocked. And I said, all of them are having smart sectors. I'm working with mining. Is the most transforming sector of the economy.
Well,
you know, now they wanted me to explain this concept. I said to them, listen, this industry used not to allow women to work in the mines. Today, more than 72,000 miners are female. That is what I call transformation. I say there are 4 companies in the JSA, one listed there, that have female CEOs. 2 of the 4 are in mining. And I gave them a list of things that are happening there. And I told them, when I came to the mines many years ago, Bernard was still young then, and I couldn't put my hand on a blasting certificate with matric because it was reserved for a scheduled person. Today, more than 80% of miners are black. So that is the most transforming sector of the economy. You can say whatever you want. It's the only sector that has a policy of recognition of prior learning practically. There's no other sector. They still think about it. We did it. You're a team leader. You know how to charge up and blast. You can be a miner. We train you. And I told them that we have CEOs in the industry who have no diploma or a degree, but who are miners, then do chief post ticket, mine manager's ticket, do all those tickets until they come to the top, competent, and they become CEOs. Only mining does that. So I am in the most transforming sector of the economy. And that's why I'm here today. Year before last I didn't come. You all know what Bernard did. Bernard wrote 10 articles about me after that.
Minister Mantashe, a few questions. Can we just stand here? Do you mind standing up? Yeah, that phone call, eh? Sheesh. Yeah, my wife was not sleeping that night. I said, no, man, that's just this Gwede guy. He's full of shit. I mean, let's get
Is that what you said?
Yeah. Minister, I wanna introduce. I want us to. I mean, you and I are both old. You're much older than me.
Yes.
Much older. I can see. Now,
Wait. You see, I'm much older than him. But people think that I'm younger because I'm handsome.
You know, we've already got Lionel Richie in the room here, you know. I mean, so Minister, no, but I mean, when we're old, you talk about a tax holiday. Can I please have a tax retirement? I don't want a holiday. Yeah. Some of our businesses may need a retirement from tax to survive, huh? Our smelting businesses. I've got some serious questions from serious audience. You updated us, and thank you for the updates on the various issues from last year. So there's a question, and I don't want you to take a long time, Minister. But we speak about a just transition for coal miners, but not for gold or platinum or anything else. So what is this obsession with a just transition for coal miners?
Yes. The reason for that is that coal mining and the fossil fuels are the two victims of doing away with. Nobody wants to do away with gold and platinum. They love them. They are shining minerals. This dirty mineral and fossil fuel must be done away with. And I'm saying, that thing called coal, Bernard, is having a number of byproducts. Actually, many of these minerals of the future are byproducts of coal. But we must just do research. That's all I'm saying. And for gold, you don't need that. If you can get more gold, you'll get the market. The price is 2,600.
I know. Even I could mind that. I mean, you know. Minister, there's a question, and if there's a name to it, I'll give it to you. So these people used the anonymous to put the questions. Eh? In South Africa, if South Africa has 70% of world manganese and 80% of world PGMs, would government support the creation of an OPEC-style body to control prices? Please say no.
If you ask me,
yes,
that would be my first preference. But if you ask the World Trade Organization, WTO, we'll run into problems. Simple.
Yeah, no, exactly, yeah. Minister, this question comes from Wilma Swartz. How does the Department of Minerals look at the drive towards circularity and recycling of minerals? Yeah. So, is mining more than just mining? Should mining be all the way through to circularity, recycling? But you're the Minister of Mines, so you don't care.
I don't know recycling, but I know that one of the areas that I think is going to be opened in a big way is processing of mine dumps.
Yeah.
Because many of those mine dumps have the minerals that were mined in those mines. And I will encourage that. But, you know, you took us to court as the industry. And we were told that those dams are not belonging to us. They belong to the mining companies. So,
and then you changed the law so that you can stop us from doing that.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, see, those mining dams, for mining companies,
it's a liability.
It's a liability. But if you can give people licenses to process those dams, many people, It's Pan-African Resources, by the way. It's an example of a company that is doing well
Yeah.
by processing mine dumps. So there can be few other entrepreneurs who process mine dumps and make a living.
Minister, quite a serious question, if I can phrase it correctly. Honourable Minister, so it's clearly not from me, it comes from somebody else. Honourable Minister, as much as consistent energy supply can be secured, the expensive electricity price will deter revival of the closed furnaces. I mean, a 40% electricity increase will put the industry back, not forward. Are you talking to that young man? Are you telling them not to do that?
I think the industry must talk to ESCOM and the minister responsible about
Yeah,
that.
but last year it was you. We spoke with you then.
No, even last year I was not a minister.
Yeah.
Now, but the reality of the matter is that I phoned few people today and asked them, hey man, let 36% increase of electricity, is it real? And they gave me one concern that no, it's a proposal from ESCOM. It has not been approved yet. I said, okay, then fine. Let's look into the process. It is in the interest of the industry to participate in that public consultation and influence that 36% down. My own view is that any increase of a price that is more than CPI in this day and age
It's criminal.
is criminal.
Thank you, Minister.
I agree with that.
Minister, I'm sure these people don't want to drink, so we can keep on talking here. What is the capacity of government to drive all these changes that our economy and country require for 3.3% growth? But let's talk about your department. Are we capacitated to do the things that you are mandated to do?
I think we are, but we can only do them if we work with the sector. We can do anything and everything if we work with the sector. If the sector doesn't work with us, we're criticizing one another and throw insult at each other, nothing is going to happen.
But you're going to have an easy job. You know, we're getting rid of these Anglos, the difficult people.
No, please.
We replace Roger with a fine young man. I mean, you know, just.
Don't get into that today. I made a delegation of PHP. Please don't get into that.
I think we should stop this conversation before either of us go to jail. But have you been in jail before, Minister?
A few times.
But when you come out, you can be a minister in this country. Eh? You can be ex-convict minister.
Okay.
Ladies, gentlemen, it's always a fun conversation. It's a serious conversation. I know lots of people do not understand why us and this minister get along, because we almost disagree on everything sometimes. And yet the one thing that we all know when he leaves this room is he actually cares about the same industry we care about. So for that, we will always appreciate you. Minister Gwede